right, so we are back and we are going to talk about post-show because you're post-show right now. So tell us how you feel. Like shit, right?
I'm going to eat some. I need about 16 pieces of cheesecake and I'm ready to go. No, shit, we're, yeah, it's
how many
hard.
weeks post-show? 3 now? 3?
Yeah, it's hard. This might be one of the hardest ones that I've done. And I don't know, man. Like, so when you gave me your diet, my check-in, I was only doing like 230 carbs, 50 grams of fat, and like 330.
60.
No. Hear me out. For my show.
Yeah.
So we bumped up my food and I like fucked up a few times. Like I had a brownie. I had like probably 5 brownies in the past 3 weeks, which isn't bad.
It's not bad.
It could be worse. And they're easy accessible. So, but like I found myself like just snacking on rice cakes, and that's been like rice cakes and peanut butter. And that's been like, and I'll grab apples. Like, you know, like I'll grab an apple. Sometimes granola. So I've messed up probably out of the 21 days. I probably messed up like 5-6 days. Yeah. And it's not like messing up where you blow it. You just like eat like
having extra 5 rice cakes is nothing, you know? So like,
that's what I'm saying. So, but it's really hard sometimes when we're in this mode where you feel like you're fucking famished. Right. Yeah. But it's really hard to stick on the diet because you're so hungry and you're just food focused for weeks upon weeks after this. So it's hard.
Your hunger is going to be exponentially higher after a show than it is like throughout prep. And you have to also understand too, like you're dieting for so long that you finally get to eat. So you have that battle of like, well, now I don't have a show, so I could have a little bit because I'm not going on stage. But the more you do that and the more you get off plan, the more fat you're going to gain.
For sure. And that's the thing. Like, you know, we're tapering down things. We're keeping some fat burners in play. And I think you're doing it because, you know, I'm kind of like, I'm trying. And it's just like, you know, cardio's still at a decent amount too. And I've seen you do it where you fucking be banging out cherry. You'll eat too. Yeah. You know,
I've eaten a whole box of like family size cherries.
I've seen rebound. Your rebounds are like fucking, you do take it a little, but you don't gain that fat as easily as other people. Right. So you can do it.
Right. But I've been more consistent, but again, like you, like where you're like 80%, I would say 80 or 85%, I mean, but like you can't expect yourself to be perfect. I expect perfection in prep. I don't expect perfection in post show or off season or whatever. It's just, it's not.
I mean, you got to think about it. Let's say you've been dieting for 20, 22 weeks and you've been perfect for those. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that a few days throughout a few months is really going to fuck you up? No. But what people do is they binge eat. Right. Every night. They go through their meals and then at night because at night it hits you.
Well, yeah.
And then you binge and you binge and then you're up 20 fucking pounds in a couple of weeks and then you're like, right, I gained all this fat.
Or even like 10 pounds in a week, which I've had clients do that. I'm like, what did you eat? And then
I'm up 2 pounds in 3 weeks. Yeah. The highest I got up was to 5 pounds in 3 weeks, like 5 pounds. That's because of just,
which is great. Whatever. That's how you should be.
But that's, you know, so. Yeah.
So I mean, I think hunger is like the hardest and the biggest thing that people deal with post show. Just again, like it's a hunger that you cannot by any means fix, no matter how much food you eat, no matter what food you eat. I remember being post show one time where I was just wanted something. And I grabbed Nutella and pretzels and I dipped like 2 and I was like, that's not it. And I had something else. I was like, that's not it. I was like, I want something. And nothing was like giving me that satisfaction of being like, oh, okay, I'm good. Yeah. But it is the hardest. And I've always said this to people. It's the hardest for me. It's harder than prep. I can prep.
I think because
prep is hard, but like post show, it's like because you know that if you fuck that up, you really fuck that up because now you have to look fat for a whole off season. Right. It's not just like a progression of getting to fat. You're just fat. You're just there. You're just like, and now your metabolism's fucked up because you don't know where your food's at. Yeah. You know, you just can't gain that like control.
One thing I would say is that people, I feel like they get really they want to get back into like swing of things quickly. So they're like, oh, we got to bring your food from X to C. And
honestly, I think that's one of the worst things you could do is when somebody can't get their shit together, coaches don't know what to do. So they're like, they put their food up crazy high, they slash all their hormones, and then the client gets really messed up with their hormones and then really messed up with the food because they gain a bunch of weight. But it's like, what I like to do is add, I call it fun foods or just different foods. You need something of texture, right? You need something crunchy. You need something this, that. Have an apple. Even for me, I was doing tortilla chips in my salad or something. Just adding small little things that you're like, oh, wow, this is new food. Okay. And then you feel better about it because then you can eat that new food and you're like still staying on point with your macros. So that's something that I always suggest to clients. To you, of course, you've been like, no, I want my same old food.
I like my food. I've turned to like
fucking plain ass chicken and ketchup.
I like it. I've turned to like just getting an apple or like
but at least it's something different where you're increasing your food. It's gonna suck, but you got to get through that first month, and then you're gonna be better. So post show, I think it's your food, it's your hormones, and your mental state. So we talked about food, your hormones. So your hormones have gone through the ringer.
Ups and downs.
Throughout the prep. And you got to think you're running the most amount of gear when you get to the show. Usually. Maybe you taper back on a couple
a week before the show, I would say.
So you taper back a little bit, but then you're running like high stuff.
You're gassed.
And the worst thing you can do is take everything off and just say, I'm done. That is the worst thing you can do as a female, especially. But definitely for a male too.
I just like tapering back, tapering, and then cutting out one and tapering. It's like a 6-week hiatus. I usually take out all the orals immediately, which is usually a good drop. And then the injectables, you kind of just taper back. You take out the harsh ones first.
Right. Definitely the harsher ones you want to pull back on.
The thing is too, like, it's hard too, because you're like, well, I want to get a really good rebound, but then you got to go into your health phase and then you start your off season. So it's like a 6 weeks. Then you have this like 8 to 12 week TRT or health phase, and then you start your off season. So it's like, it's just increments.
It's just finding that balance of, especially whether it's tapering off of cleanse. Sometimes it's good to keep a fat burner in just to maintain kind of, especially if you have some days where, you might have eaten a couple more brownies than you should have. Also tapering off the AIs, things like that. And for women, just keeping something in, and for men too, keeping something in so that way you can have a rebound versus you just slash everything and then your strength has already been trash. Even adding the food, your strength's not going to be any better if you take out all of your anabolics.
No, not so. And I don't want people to think like you stay on cleanse for weeks and weeks post show just to keep it because you're like, I keep fucking up, so I'm just going to take this as a crutch.
No, that's not what I meant. It just helps you maintain that physique, that leanness, that you're not, you're just, again, you're taking away too many things. It's just like when you start prep, you're not going to add in the kitchen sink to get lean. You're not going to do, oh, hey, I'm starting prep. I'm going to do 2 hours of cardio, take 100 of cleanse and do this, that, the other. You're not going to do that because your body's going to be overloaded and then not respond to the stimulus. So vice versa. But so
I think that's a great
the hunger, the hormones, you're all like this. So he's getting a little bit better. He's kind of like, you're at a slow wave now. Okay. I'd like to get you to be like
steady as a steam.
I'd like to get you there. But
so what's the third one?
The third one is mental state. So all of those, I mean, it goes in
it all plays,
with your, but like, I think for you, especially, and for any competitor, it could be the lows and the highs of, I'm the fucking best. I'm this, that, or I lost. I look like shit. I'm terrible. I need to work on. I mean, and I think that you talked about, you go through, and I think I've done this too, where you have that motivation really high post show because you're like, oh, I want to get to work. I want to work on this, that. And then the next day you're like, oh, fuck, man, I don't want to even do this anymore. You're like, and then it's like 2 days later, it's like a roller coaster of emotions. You're like with a fucking bipolar person because you're like, wait, I think
it might take you like 4 to 6 weeks to fully get back to like a normalcy. And I feel it coming on as the third week, arises now, and then like I'm like, oh, like probably a couple more weeks I'll be back to like I'm good.
It takes a while. It always takes longer than you think. You think you're fine because you start eating food and then you're like I'm still not fine.
I eat food and I just get hungrier. Like,
but that's a good thing. Your metabolism's working. Your metabolism's on fire.
It's fucking cranking.
But it's good. And I think the mental state, you know, you gotta realign. The thing that I tell people, you gotta realign with, you know, your goals.
Yeah.
Right. So like focus on what is the next step. If the next step isn't another show, you got to focus on the long term. You got to focus on the fact that it's going to take you a long time to reverse, to get into an off season, to grow. That doesn't happen in weeks. And you got to understand that your body's going to start to look different. And it sucks seeing your body go in reverse from all the shredded, the veins, the abs.
It's actually kind of weird. Like I know with my check-in pictures today, I look good. But like, there's like some things where I'm like, I'm a little softer here. Yeah. Like, you know.
But when you look at these pictures in like 2 months from now, you're going to be like,
damn,
I looked awesome.
Look at me now. I look like a piece of shit.
I remember last year because I was last year my show was Halloween.
Yeah.
And so Thanksgiving I fucking ate.
Yeah, you killed
it. I was actually mad that I couldn't eat more because I was so full. I want more dessert. And I was like, I can't eat it. I was so full. But anyways, and then I was like, I looked like shit. I was like, man, I don't look good for being like 4 or 5 weeks post show. And then now I look at those pictures, I was like, damn, I look shredded. That was great. Yeah. But yeah, it's a mental fuckery. And you got to be, I think the biggest thing, you know, that we try to tell everyone is you have to be aware of the process and have a coach that goes over that process with you, you know, that's there for you mentally and understands that you're going to go through this roller coaster. You have to focus on your goals. Yeah. You have to keep moving forward, because if you don't, you're going to be all over the place. You're going to be loose cannon, and you're going to gain all that fat that you don't want to. You're going to have to lose it all.
I also think like staying to your check-ins and staying to your routine post-show, like keep your cardio going, keep your routine going. I think if you can keep in that routine all year, it might serve you a better purpose.
Yeah.
Just staying routine oriented. Well, that's for one.
Again, it's not going 0 to 100. So it's not going, you're not going from somebody who's never gone to the gym, jumping into a prep and having to do everything. Yeah. Right. So you've been in prep, you've done all these things. Don't go back to being a slob or just not doing anything. For sure. Have fun with your friends and your family and go out to dinner and do stuff, but also, you know, stay on your shit if you want to be a good athlete and you want to make the progress that you need to.
I agree.
So
what else you got?
I don't know. I mean,
that's it.
I feel like, a lot of people have asked us to talk about post-show. And I know that was kind of a quick overview, but I hope you listened quickly because we went over everything. You know,
that's
really all it is. It's again, having the support system and, you know, hopefully, I think what I hear too with clients too is the people who don't have a spouse or a partner who understands bodybuilding. So they want to go like, oh, I want to go out to dinner and do this, have drinks during the week.
You can't do this. You can't.
It's like, yes, you can, but all within reason. Yeah. Again, you have to be sound in your goals and what you want to be as a competitor, as an athlete. And if you truly don't want to do that, it'll show in how you progress after show. But if you really want to work towards those goals, you're gonna stay on your shit. You're gonna do what you need to do.
I agree.
Maybe have a brownie here and there.
Yeah, don't have.
Or a box of Cheerios on occasion, but
who's counting? Have one tonight.
Post show.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we'll talk about pre-show.
Pre-show.
I don't know what that is.
I
don't know. We're gonna go on vacation and then we'll figure out something to talk about.
We'll see you guys fucking next month.
I need to take a long nap after prepping this guy.
Yeah. Well,
I need like a week.
That's it? We're done?
That's it.
All right, good.
We're out of time.
Until next time.
See you guys next time.
Holla.